The drama surrounding Disney's Snow White remake just hit a level no one saw coming. What began as a film launch marred by controversy has now morphed into a full-blown crisis at the top, with Disney CEO Bob Iger reportedly being pushed toward the exit. The film's disastrous box office performance, the unrelenting backlash towards star Rachel Zegler, and a culture war-fueled PR nightmare have spiraled into what insiders are calling a studio-wide identity crisis. According to a recent report by Red T, the situation at Disney is unraveling faster than executives can manage. Despite Snow White being hyped as a nostalgic billion-dollar hit in the making, the reality couldn't be further from that dream. With a production budget nearing $270 million, the film's meager $160 million global earnings weren't just underwhelming, they were catastrophic. Worse yet, it wasn't just competing films that outshined it. A surprise box office success, the Minecraft movie, more than doubled Snow White's performance, pulling in $300 million globally with half the fanfare. This wasn't just a failed movie, it became the catalyst for internal combustion. The blame, according to sources, is being laid directly at Bob Iger's feet. Iger, once celebrated for bringing Disney into the streaming age and overseeing major acquisitions like Marvel and Pixar, now faces accusations of mismanagement, poor judgment, and letting ideological branding override storytelling. Insiders allege that Iger had multiple opportunities, 2 to 3 years ago, to step in and redirect the direction of Snow White, especially as early reports signaled trouble with casting, messaging, and behind-the-scenes conflicts. But he didn't. Instead, the studio doubled down. The Rachel Zegler controversies, ranging from her criticism of the original 1937 film to politically charged social media posts, became lightning rods. And instead of calming the storm, Disney did nothing to prevent it from becoming a wildfire. By the time Snow White hit theaters, it was already buried under months of controversy and branded as a woke reimagining of a beloved classic. Fans turned away. Critics piled on. And suddenly, the movie wasn't just under scrutiny, the entire Disney brand was. Faced with mounting pressure, Bob Iger reportedly shocked the board with an unexpected proposal during a recent emergency meeting. Not only did he suggest shelving the already planned Tangled live-action remake, but he also floated the idea of extending his CEO tenure all the way to 2028, 2 years beyond his previously stated exit date of 2026. Insiders said the move reeked of desperation and legacy saving, not leadership. The reaction: instant backlash. Over 80% of the board rejected Iger's plan outright. Major investors like Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock, who have long stood behind Disney's direction, were now reportedly losing faith. With subscribers fleeing Disney Plus and box office flops stacking up, The Acolyte, another massive Star Wars misfire, being one of them, the board was no longer willing to gamble on Iger's promises. More alarmingly, the studio is now under investigation by the FCC, adding another layer of pressure and potential exposure. According to the report, Disney's internal environment is in turmoil. Executives clashing, creatives confused, and morale at an all-time low. With projects delayed or canceled, marketing scrambling to salvage narratives, and even long-time employees losing faith, the company is in what one insider called full-blown panic mode. But perhaps most telling is how Iger's messaging has shifted. In interviews, he's been downplaying any sort of agenda behind Snow White. He's insisted there were no political messages, no underlying themes, and that the criticism is unfounded. People don't even know what agenda means, he reportedly said. Statements that have done little to regain trust and, according to some on the board, only made him look more out of touch. The real issue: Disney fans, lifelong, loyal, paying fans, aren't buying it. Social media is flooded with clips and commentary mocking Iger's attempts to dismiss criticism. Hashtags like #DisneyDisaster, #SnowWhiteFail, and #IgerOut have taken over platforms like X, TikTok, and YouTube. Even people who used to defend Disney's push for modernization are now saying enough is enough. The current reported plan? Replace Iger by the end of the year or no later than early 2026. The board has already shortlisted 3 candidates, all with different strengths. One reportedly is a legacy insider, someone well-versed in Disney's internal culture but untainted by the current mess. Another is a fresh name from outside the industry, a disruptor figure who can shake the company free from what's now being described as ideological tunnel vision. The third is a strategist known for merging storytelling with profitability in other entertainment firms. Crucially, sources suggest the board isn't necessarily trying to abandon Disney's DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, principles. But they want it handled with more subtlety. The consensus. Iger's approach made the message too obvious, too preachy, and too central to storytelling. Instead of enhancing content, it overshadowed it. And in that failure, Snow White became the final straw. With two of Disney's cornerstone franchises, Star Wars and its princess line, effectively derailed in 1 year, the ripple effects are massive. Streaming rivals like Paramount+, HBO Max, and even Peacock are now poaching disillusioned Disney fans. New content is being devoured elsewhere while Disney remains stuck in a defensive posture, trying to explain its vision instead of just entertaining audiences. Internally, it's getting even uglier. Some insiders are reportedly rooting for Iger's exit so the company can finally hit reset. A few have already begun developing early outlines for what a Disney 2.0 might look like, focusing less on identity-driven marketing and more on universal storytelling, the very DNA that made Disney a household name to begin with. But here's the big problem. Nothing can move forward until Bob Iger officially steps down. And right now, he's still clinging to control, trying to outmaneuver the board, sway media narratives, and buy time for a comeback that few believe is coming. And the public isn't forgiving. The longer Disney waits, the more loyalty it bleeds. Longtime fans are tuning out. Theme park visits are dipping. Merch sales are slowing. And Rachel Zegler's image, once seen as bold and refreshing, has become a lightning rod for everything wrong with the company's current direction. Financially, the writing is on the wall. If the upcoming quarterly report doesn't show major turnaround indicators, the board is expected to accelerate Iger's exit plan. Wall Street pressure is already mounting, and shareholder meetings are reportedly turning into war zones of criticism and demands for accountability. So where does that leave Disney? At a crossroads. They can either continue trying to defend the indefensible, or admit they've lost the plot, reset their approach, and begin rebuilding the trust that was shattered not just by one film, but by a pattern of decisions that audiences, employees, and investors no longer support.